Welcome back to the Buffalo Bills franchise here on the Blue Collar Network, here for the Week 10 bye-week video. We have no game this week, so we are here for a little update video to go over what's happened in the season so far. And our record right now in Week 10 is 2-7 on the season, which is not good at all. If the season ended right now, we would have the 4th overall pick, which is definitely not what we expected to have coming into the season. But it's definitely not for a lack of stats or trying, because this team statistically is a pretty darn good team with yards, total yards, defense. Their total statistics are actually pretty darn good. It's just the turnovers that are killing this team. Tyrod Taylor's turnovers, mainly his turnovers because of the fumbles and the interceptions. And like I said, this team's team stats aren't that bad, as they are 6th in total offense, the 6th best team in total offense in the entire NFL. They're the 6th best passing offense in the entire NFL, and they are, on the defensive side of the ball, they have the 2nd best defense, so they've allowed the 2nd least amount of yards in all of the NFL. So the defense is doing its job. They have the 1st pass defense, so they're not passing the ball on us. It's most of the time when teams score on the Bills, it's they run the ball for 200 plus yards on the ground because the run defense needs to shape up, or it's because Tyrod Taylor fumbles or throws a pick and they get great field position and then they just run it in, or Tyrod Taylor fumbles, they pick it up and they run it all the way back for a touchdown. So moving on to the player stats, like I mentioned, Tyrod Taylor, he does have 2,510 yards with 15 touchdowns, but he also has 15 interceptions on the season, which is not good. That is actually the most interceptions in the season, but we'll get to that once we get to the league leaders part of this episode. He is completing 63% of his passes, and he has an 86.6 QBR. So I'm pretty confident with how Tyrod Taylor is playing, except for the fumbles. If you just eliminate the fumbles and the interceptions, he's doing his job. He just needs to eliminate that. I feel confident that he's going to be able to turn things around, and he's still our QB. We're not just going to get rid of him like that. He's still our QB. We have no thoughts of benching him for anybody. We have nothing like that. He is our QB for the foreseeable future. As far as the run game goes, you guys all know that MCCOY has missed quite a decent amount of time with a broken collarbone. He broke his collarbone in the game against the Los Angeles Rams in LA. And before he broke his collarbone, he had 68 carries for 367 yards and 2 touchdowns, which aren't exactly the greatest of numbers, but I mean, like I said, he's missed pretty much the entire season to this point. Reggie Bush has 55 carries with 271 yards and a touchdown. Reggie Bush is interesting because ever since McCoy has gone down, the run game has pretty much been Bush will have a decent game here, and then the next game he'll have 15 carries, but he'll only get 20 total yards that game. But then the next game he'll come out and he'll get 12 carries, and he'll bust it off for like 150. Or one game it'll be Keith Marshall gets all the yards, or the next game it's Jonathan Williams gets all the yards, while Reggie Bush goes 8 carries for 10 yards. And it's just there's an extremely inconsistent run game right now for the Bills, and they need to figure it out. They need to get a guy who can actually come in there and they can rely on, because right now it's pretty much just like, this guy's not working, but we're already down by 3 scores in the game, so we kind of have to pass, and that's why Tyrod Taylor throws a lot of interceptions, because he's throwing 40-plus passes the majority of games, because we're already down first or second quarter, and we need to come back in the game, and we can't really rely on a run game that's getting us 1 yard a carry all game. And now moving on to the receiving yards, Sammy Watkins is leading the team in receptions and yards. He has 47 catches for 772 yards and 5 touchdowns. Robert Woods has the 2nd most receptions with 33, 370 yards, but he has no touchdowns somehow. Charles Clay is 3rd with 27 receptions, 470 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then the slot guy, Colby Listenby, is 4th in receptions with 22, 255 yards, and he has 4 touchdowns, with his 2nd on the team through the receivers and the receiving touchdowns. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Reggie Ragland is leading the team in tackles. The rookie linebacker, the 2nd-round pick out of Alabama, has 60 total tackles, which is the most on the team. He has 11 of them for loss, and he only has half a sack, so he's not exactly rushing the quarterback. He's just getting a lot of tackle for losses on running backs, and he's just swarming up ball carriers as he leads the team in tackles. Jerry Hughes is the leading sack getter on the team with 9 of them on the year, and then Shaq Lawson, the rookie out of Clemson, the first-round pick, has 3.5 on the year. Zach Brown, the outside linebacker, Kaya Williams, defensive tackle, and the rookie Adolphus Washington out of Ohio State all have 2 sacks on the season as well. And now, like I said, we were going to move on to the league leaders at some point in the episode, and now we are there, as Tyrod Taylor, like I said, he's having a good season when it comes statistically for stats-wise for yardage, as he has the second most passing yards in the entire NFL. Those 2,510 yards is second most in the NFL for passing yards. The only person above him is Aaron Rodgers, which is a good guy to have above you if you're going to have anybody above you. But like I said, he does have the most interceptions in the entire NFL with 15. And because Tyrod Taylor has so many yards and his go-to guy is Sammy Watkins is second in the NFL for receiving yards, as those 772 he has have come a long way, as he is now the number 2 receiver in the NFL for yardage. Now, this guy isn't on our team, but it's definitely worth mentioning as we are in Week 10. We haven't even fully gone through Week 10, as J.J. Watt has 20 sacks on the season. We have not even completed Week 10 yet. We just completed Week 9, we are now in the Week 10 bye, and we have not gone through the week yet, and J.J. Watt has 20 sacks, which leads the league. It is absolutely insane. This guy is tearing up offensive lines. Nobody wants to block this guy. He is just getting past everybody, getting the quarterbacks, and he is terrorizing the AFC South. The Bills have had a couple of Player of the Week so far in the season, as in Week 3, Sammy Watkins won the award, AFC Offensive Player of the Week. He had 6 receptions that week for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. In Week 6, Tyrod Taylor was the Player of the Week, as he went 15 for 25 with 366 yards through the air, 2 passing touchdowns, and he also scrambled into the end zone for a touchdown himself for a rushing touchdown. And now moving on to the injuries part of the episode, where you guys already know the major one, LeSean McCoy, broken collarbone. He still has 2 more weeks left on that injury. It could be shorter with the big decisions, but as right now, it is 2 more weeks left on the injury, so he should be back around Week 12 or Week 13. And then in the past few games, Sterling Moore, our nickel corner, has gone down with a pulled groin, so he's out, and we've made some changes to the depth chart to accommodate him being out of the lineup, as Corey Graham, our usual starting free safety, has moved to the nickel corner spot because he does have quite a high man coverage and he is set to play corner. So Corey Graham is playing nickel corner, and his backup, the younger Duke Williams, is actually a good free safety, and he's playing free safety now while Corey Graham is the nickel corner. Keith Marshall, another pickup we had, you guys have noticed him. He returns our kicks and punts, and he's getting a decent amount of carries. He had that one good game where he had 2 touchdowns, and he's actually a pretty decent running back. He's just a guy we picked up off of Washington's practice squad. A tight end we picked up was Michael Williams, and why did we pick up a tight end? Well, because our fullback, Jerome Felton, was released because we did not exactly like what he brought to the team. I'm under the philosophy that we use a blocking fullback. We don't get a guy who's a receiving fullback, and he's not even a good receiving fullback. So we released Jerome Felton, and we have signed a tight end, Michael Williams. Even though he's a tight end, he's playing fullback for us, as he is a 6'6", 304-pound fullback, basically. We basically have another lineman on the field when he's on the field, and he has 85 run blocks, so he is able to just kind of get ball carriers out of the way, definitely. And with that being said, it's pretty much going to wrap things up here for this Week 10 bye-week video. We are going to be heading into Week 11 next week to take on the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. They are sitting at 4-5 in the season, so hopefully the Bills can get their 3rd win of the season to improve to 3-7. Bengals are 4-5, and we are going to be starting Reggie Bush over LeSean McCoy, as we did not want to risk his injury. We felt like the stats that are decreasing for him, if we start him, are not worth the double XP for the coach and the running back. It's definitely not worth risking another injury for LeSean McCoy, as we need him. No point in trying to force him back out there so he can just miss even more of the season. So that's going to wrap things up here for Buffalo Bills football on the Blue Collar Network. I have been your host, Jerseyborn, and I'm saying goodbye.
God, Jesus, I'm real cheesy. God, Jesus, this real easy. God, Jesus, give me titties. Yeah. God, Jesus, I'm real cheesy. God, Jesus, this real easy. God, Jesus, give me titties. Yeah. I won't pop no Zans with your grandma. Your granny wants me to be her daddy. But I can't do that because she too saggy. Not to mention her booty really flat, and if I hit it from the back, she might have a heart attack.